is up, guys? Jordan here with the Deck Box. And tonight I'm going to be talking just a little bit about my thoughts about this past weekend. And I don't mean the tournament itself. I'm not talking about my plays or how my weekend went. I am talking about a couple of issues that came up that, it really kind of breaks my heart that I have to even talk about these things in a community that I thought was really stand up, and I still do. I want to put that out there. I still think the community as a whole is still very solid, but Erica and I felt that it would be good to talk about these things, kind of put our thoughts out there and opinions about some of the events that happened this past weekend. So starting off with the biggest elephant in the room, Michael Long. Okay, so I don't even remember what round it was, probably round 4 or so. Michael was caught, caught cheating. And so I want to preface this with a few things. I've only been around since last August, so a little over a year and a half in the game. Not too terribly long, but I have heard of Michael Long. I've never heard of Michael Long separate from Greninja and separate from potentially cheating. I have to put that out there. I've always heard that. So maybe I'm coming out this with bias. I really hope I'm not. I'm trying to be as objective as possible in this, in my thoughts, but I'm just putting that out there. That is what I've heard. I have heard from some like, oh, he's the best Greninja player, okay? And then I've heard from others, yeah, he's been caught doing X, Y, or Z, okay? So this weekend he was definitively caught cheating. A judge, from what I've been told, came over to Michael after he saw a Greninja break tucked under Michael's leg, told him, put your hands on the table, stand up. And that's when they caught the Greninja sitting there, and that was it. Michael was DQ'd, escorted from the tournament, and then I guess he came back in later, and was escorted to his stuff. They did hold on to his stuff and then escorted back out. I've heard from some, I don't know 100% certainty on this, but from what I've been told, there was some actually punches thrown at one point where someone said, hey, congrats, cheater, and Michael didn't take that too well and swung at him. So a couple things there. Obviously, you don't like to see violence at a Pokemon tournament. I'm not even talking about the cheating at this point. The violence is kind of aggravating to me because you're at an event that's supposed to be family friendly, and quite honestly, the person that said those things should not have said those things. That was not the time or place. He's going to be dealing with plenty of that for a while, so just leave it be, let him leave the tournament, whatever, and move on. So, in my opinion, that was immature of that person. Okay. With that being said, though, what Michael did, in my opinion, is 100% wrong. The cheating, I think we can all agree, the cheating is 1,000% wrong. And that's not really the debate here. The debate now that people are discussing is, well, first of all, should Michael be banned? Yes or no? Why or why not? And then from there, if you do think there should be a ban, how long? Why do you think that? So I'm going to address my thoughts on that, and then I'm going to move into another issue as well that I guess people are kind of discussing now as well. So the first question there is, should there be a ban? I'm saying 100% yes, there should be a ban. Pokemon has made it very clear that, supposedly they've made it very clear that cheating is not to be tolerated. Okay, it seems like they're now cracking down a little bit more. They've come out with some more, they haven't come out with more rules, but they've come out with more, what's the best word? I guess ways to enforce those, enforcements for them. Taking an additional card, prize penalty, no questions asked, black and white, that's how it is. For me, cheating, black and white, you're banned. That's how it is. From there, though, Do you look at a year, 2 years, 3 years, lifetime ban? And I've heard both sides of this. I've heard a lot of lifetime ban, and the lifetime ban people, they sound like they're out for blood. I mean, they're absolutely nuts over this, and rightfully so. A lot of these people have been around for a long time, and what we're looking at here is someone who has profited. I think the number's over $40,000 in scholarships. Okay, and I heard this part explained perfectly. I was listening to Joe Bernard on OmniPoke earlier today. He was streaming, and they were discussing a little bit. And at this point, I already had my opinion, and it hasn't changed since then. But what he said was $40,000 of something being stolen or scammed out of someone, that is a criminal offense in a lot of cases. That's not just cheating or stealing. That's fraud. Anyone else would be in jail for it if they just straight up took money like that. And now, whether or not he got all 40 grand of that from cheating, I don't know. Okay, I've heard lots of rumors of double stacking, just straight up cheating, double attachments, things like this, two supporters, whatever the case is. I've heard many accusations of those things. None of them have been proven, but I'm a strong believer in if there's smoke, there's fire. Okay, if someone's being accused of something so often, like, I'm sorry, you can't tell me that the whole community just doesn't like him for whatever reason. I haven't heard of any other reason to not like Michael. I haven't heard that he's a horrible person based on his character, how he behaves, or anything like that. The only thing I've ever heard is about the cheating. Okay, so if so many people are saying it, and there's a lot of questionable things, to me, it's got to be there. Okay. So there's that side of the field that just they're absolutely they want him to have that lifetime ban, and to be just completely wiped off the face of the Pokemon planet. Nothing to do with them. I've heard some talking about they need to get that money back, yada yada. I will say this: I don't think it could be difficult to get that money back if they do. Do I agree that there should be some sort of restitution? Absolutely. Maybe since it's in scholarships, it could be easier to just revoke those, I guess, since they're probably sitting in the spot. So that might be a good thing that they're scholarships and not, someone who's 18 or older and they've got cash and they've blown it all. That would be a little tricky to get back. But scholarships, I think there could definitely be some restitution. So there's that camp. And then there's the other camp that says, oh man, no, I don't think they should ban him at all. I guess there's three camps. There's the camp that says that it shouldn't be banned at all, and I think there's like three people in that camp, if I'm being honest. I really don't think that there's many people in that. There's, let's see, the three people in that camp: Michael Long, Michael Long's mom, and Michael Long's best friend. That's probably it. Now there's this other camp that says that he should be banned, but it should not be lifetime. And they think it should be 1 or 2 years. Obviously, take away his accolades up to this point. He's 1 or 2 years out of the game. Move on. I am in the camp of lifetime ban, 100% certainty. And the main reason I am is because I don't agree with these people that say 1 or 2 years. And what these 1 or 2 year people are saying, and I will say this too, a few of them I've talked to in the 1 or 2 year ban. I'm not calling people out or anything. I don't want to embarrass anyone, but I've heard people say, I was such a big fan of him before and I was really disappointed, but I don't think he should have a lifetime ban. The only people I'm hearing say that are people who were fans of Michael Long to begin with, so yeah, they're probably being a little bit easier on him. I've also heard he's just 15 years old, he's just a kid, whatever. I'm calling BS on that, because at the age of 15, I sure knew better not to cheat, not to steal from people. I knew that well before 15. So I think the whole he's 15 thing, I think that's garbage. I totally disagree with that mindset. I'd like to say I feel bad for him if he gets banned for life, but I don't, because he did this to himself. Okay? I think to feel bad for someone who has committed a crime is wrong. Okay, they did it. They put themselves in that situation. In this situation, Michael cheated, and now he has to deal with those repercussions. Okay, so I don't feel bad for him. 15, whatever. Um, you know, the juniors know not to cheat. I mean, plain and simple. Um, Aside from that, when you are a top tier player, such as Michael Long, or you've been placed up there as a top tier player because of all of your accolades, you absolutely know better. Do not cheat. Okay? Um, you should not do it, and you should know the repercussions. You know the rules. You are a top tier player. It's not like you're someone who just started playing the game 3 or 4 months ago and you got caught cheating. Even then, that's wrong because you should know not to cheat no matter how long you've been playing the game. But at this stage of the game, you are a top level player. You know the repercussions. You know how to play the game. You should not be cheating. Um, so yeah, the whole 15 thing, I just out the window. On top of being a top tier player and 15 years old, you should know at that point. Third thing, you're a master now. Okay, you're in the Masters League. And it's not like you're a new player that started as a master like I did. You've worked your way up. You've been in this game long enough. You are now a master. You are being held to master standards. Okay, um, cheating is absolutely it's not tolerable. And we say it's not, but then something like this happens, and everyone sits there and goes, "Oh, don't ban him for life, whatever. He doesn't deserve it." Okay, I can't get on board with that. Excuse me, and I won't get on board with that. So, me personally, I say lifetime ban. Um, and quite honestly, I think even if they didn't do lifetime ban, at least from my standpoint, if it was me and they banned me for a year or two for cheating, I would never go back to the game because at that point, there's just your reputation's never coming back no matter what you do. Um, and to me, it'd be embarrassing and shameful to go back because you're always going to have that on your back. People are always going to look at you that way. So I wouldn't want to put myself back in that situation. Uh, so I would call for a lifetime ban, but at the same time, I think even if they do 1 or 2 year ban, I don't think we'll see him again. If I'm being honest, I would like to think that. Of course, he may not be ashamed of it. He may say, "Well, oh, got caught. Let's try again." Of course, if he comes back in a year or two, Greninja is going to be out of format, so I don't know what he's going to do. Um, and on top of that, I've heard that he's done this in other card games, and now he's in Pokemon, so it's like, maybe he's going to hop along and try the next thing. Um, so there's that. That's the first issue I want to talk about. And like I said, it breaks my heart that I have to talk about someone cheating at an event. Um, but we have to talk about it. I think it's good as a community to talk about it and understand that just because it happened, um, what I want everyone to know is just because he cheated, okay, and if Pokemon doesn't do anything, or if Pokemon just chooses to do a 1 year ban, I think everyone needs to understand that it is still not okay. I don't want people to think, oh well, they didn't do anything about it or they didn't do enough about it that we can try to cheat the system now or cheat the game or whatever. I want people to understand that no matter what the verdict is on this, still be absolutely honest. Keep your integrity. Um, we don't want this to become an epidemic in the game. I was talking to someone earlier and mentioned how, from what I've heard, a game like Yu-Gi-Oh, um, it's not even that it happens often, and that it's not that it happens often, but it's almost expected at a point where people say, oh, they're going to cheat because it's Yu-Gi-Oh. That's what we do. And there's so much looking over your shoulder and wondering, is someone going to catch me cheating, or is the person I'm playing against cheating? I don't want to be in that kind of community. So, I want everyone watching this to understand that. I don't want people to say, well, Pokemon's not doing anything about it, so let's just cheat. Um, because I mean, Pokemon, if they don't do anything about it, the players are going to be just outraged. They're, if anything, it'll be a shame fest, hardcore from the players. So just do that for everyone else. Still keep your integrity. Hold yourselves to high standards. Don't come up with excuses, and don't cheat. We'll just drop that there. The next issue that I want to talk about a little bit is the player stages. Okay, and this was something that I was shocked that there was even discussion about it, or I guess like hurt feelings over it. Um, I really think it's a stupid issue to be discussing. I don't even want to talk about it. That's how stupid I think it is that people are discussing it. But we're gonna talk about it because it's a hot topic, and I want to get my thoughts and opinions out there, which I didn't think I'd have to have one about this. But so just to set the stage for you, no pun intended. In Memphis, they had, let's see, 4 or 5 tables set up that were kind of like hoisted up. There were stages um, for certain teams. There was CCG Castle, ARG, few others. I don't remember all of them, but these top teams. Okay, and they had what, like 6 tables on each of them, three. And what would happen is during each round, the players from that team would always sit at those tables, and their opponent would come to them. So it was like you, as the opponent, you were going to their field or whatever to play the game. Um, and the reason they had done something on Friday, I believe it was like a team contest between all the different teams. There were odd rules to it and stuff. It was just a fun thing. And these teams paid good money for it. Um, According to Russell Lepar, he couldn't disclose that number. He put that on Facebook that he couldn't disclose that number, and that's totally fine. I don't care how much they paid, whatever. According to Luke on OmniPoke, he said it was like $1,500 for a stage, that's not cheap. I mean, that's a ton of extra money for a team to dish out when they're already paying for their flights, hotels, all these other things. Um, and so they paid for these things, and they were able to take part in this tournament. And they all had a big banner next to or behind their tables displaying their sponsor. So essentially, it was the sponsor paying for some sort of advertisement, that's how business works. Um, so now there's this big discussion of not even if it's right or wrong, but I mean, I guess that's the discussion is, whether it's right or whether it's wrong that these teams could do that. And like I said, I'm surprised it's even a discussion. But so there's 2 camps, and we'll talk about the ones that say that it's wrong, and because they seem to have a lot more reasons for why they think it's wrong, but I don't see it. But so a lot of them are saying, there's an intimidation factor. You're going up on stage to play against these, and I keep saying stage. Guys, it's literally 6 inches off the floor, backed up against the wall. There's not like spotlights on you or anything. Everyone else is playing their games, so they're not even watching you. So you're not like a spectacle or anything. But anyway, so you go up on this little platform, that's the word for it, and you play them there as opposed to at a normal table. So a lot of the argument was, oh, it's intimidating to go up there. You feel like you're like they have home advantage, which I think is just silly because honestly, I saw the stage and thought, man, it'd be really cool to go up there and play against those guys. Because honestly, if you're playing against Rahul Reddy, I'm going to be intimidated whether or not I'm sitting on a platform or if I'm sitting at table 356. It's Rahul Reddy. It doesn't matter where he's sitting. It's intimidating. You can't help that. So I think saying that the stage is an intimidating thing is kind of silly, to be honest with you. So there's that intimidation factor. The other part that I think some people are I think they're wanting to say it, but they're not saying it as clearly as they're thinking it in their minds, and that is that they're almost offended that these teams would have the nerve to have their own platform, to be over everyone. Um, and honestly, I think that's just silly because they rightfully paid for those spots. They took place in a separate tournament. These are sponsors. They're companies. They have the right to get their name out there, and this is their way of doing it. These players are top tier players. They've earned it, and they've paid for it. And from what I understand, it's the same. I guess kind of like bronze or gold, silver level package or whatever that was available for every other player. They paid for those spots, and then they paid on top of that for the stage. Um, to my knowledge, if I had a group of people, 8 or 10 of us, and we said, "Hey, we're a team," our local shop is our sponsor, whatever, we had the same right to do what they did. Um, I don't know all the details behind it. Didn't look into it because I'm not part of a top tier team. It doesn't make sense for me to do that. But for them, um, they figured they would do that. And what I thought was interesting, Russell Lepar actually came out on Facebook and uh, kind of like gave his perspective because he was part of those one of those teams, someone's PC, and so he talks about how they took part in the Team Chaos thing, um, and um, and how they paid for the stage, and so his thought process behind it. Whenever he went to his team, he even said, guys, this isn't paying this money is not going to really do much for us as far as a business standpoint or anything. But he said, I think it would be a fun time, um, have a spot to kind of hang out or whatever. And for them, they've got a lot of fans. You got to understand, these are these players are the professionals of this esport, so they have fans. So to them, it's like, hey, if you want to come meet X player, come to his table. You can meet him, talk to him, chat him up. And every little bit I've seen of Russell, he's just a chill guy, super cool, and he's literally looking to talk to fans and have a good time. Um, his exact words, he said, I literally told the squad, this probably isn't financially logical for us to do, considering advertisements, word of mouth scale to subscribers, etc., but it'll be fun, great for the community to see a more team-oriented esports type of feel, and we get to get our match slips ran for us, which that was part of this bronze package or whatever. One of my friends actually had it, where if you won, they took your slip. So they were like, that's what we're getting out of it. It'd be fun, basically. So everyone agreed, and he said, let's save up and we can pay for it and just see how it goes. And so a lot of times they'd have people coming up, taking pictures with them, talking with them, and that was their whole point. That was the excitement of it. He talks about the intimidation factor, and he said, a lot of us have some form of social anxiety. Um, he says, I do, and some of the guys on the team certainly do. We try our best to get over it as well as make our opponents feel comfortable by greeting with a friendly face and trying to come off as everyday players like themselves who happen to be on a sponsored team that isn't really sponsored by any card shop. So they are really trying to, I guess, cater to their opponent, to their fan base, because that's really what's happening there. And then the other thing that I would be offended if I was one of these players, to be honest with you, if someone would have said, this could happen because you have this platform up here. And that was the issue of team cheating. People assume that since they're all up on a platform, they all get to sit by each other the whole time, they're going to cheat. They'll be able to, I guess, I don't know how they even cheat. I think they're sitting next to each other. So it's not like they can see their opponent's cards and say, hey, he's got whatever. I guess they could say, hey, he's got a Greninja tucked under his leg. But I just, like I said, I would be super offended if people said, hey, they're up on that stage. I bet they're all going to cheat for each other so that they can win. First thing, they don't need to cheat. They're good players. They don't need to. So don't expect that of them. Second of all, their tables all had judges the same as every other table in that building. The judges were watching. As I mentioned before, this tournament was very, very well run. And to assume that these judges would just take a back seat on these tables and not focus because these are top tier players is absolutely ludicrous. If anything, they're going to focus more because if anyone gets caught cheating or something comes up later, it's going to be a huge issue. And if one of those judges were on the table and they missed it or they made the wrong call, it's going to be on them. They're going to be focused on these players just the same as they are with the other players at the other tables. So to say that they're cheating is just silly. I have just as much opportunity to cheat where I'm sitting as they do up on that table. I knew a lot of different people there, and we're pretty close in proximity at any point. I could just as easily do that. It just seems silly to me that they would assume that, and that they would even question their integrity to that level. And yes, I know I say that after talking about Michael Long. However, to assume that an entire team is going to pay this kind of money and cheat and say, all right, guys, we're just going to all, kind of talk to each other during the game. That's silly to think that you can't really cheat with someone in the game whenever you have your game going on, they have their game going on, because the problem with that is there's two other people involved, and that's their opponents. Their opponents are going to be like, hey, I can hear you talking to them. I'm not an idiot. So I don't exactly know how there would be cheating. To me, that's kind of a stretch. So for me, on the other side of saying, I think this is an awesome thing, because when I first started playing, there were, at the first regional I went to, there were a bunch of players in jerseys and stuff, and I thought, wow, these guys think they're real hot stuff. I thought they were kind of cocky at the time, and then I got to play the game and understood that they're really good. They've earned this. They're sponsored, and I think that would be a cool thing to have happen, to be a sponsored player, and to be able to get a chance to play against them and to kind of not just play against them, but to be around the whole team at once would also be very cool. And to me, I see this platform as that opportunity. You get to go up there before the start of the game. You're around a few of them. Typically before a game, there's a little bit of small talk. How you doing? So to get to meet these players would be awesome. And then end of the game, you can say, okay, can you help me out? What did I do wrong? Can you help me? Ask for some advice. These guys are really cool to talk to, and they'll help you out. And then from there, you're done. You got to go play up there. I think CCG Castle was handing out T-shirts if you played one of them up there. It said like I stormed CCG, or I stormed the castle at Memphis, or something like that. So it was really neat. You got some sort of thing to go up there. They made it a good time, and you got to leave with something as well. So I thought that was really cool that they would do something like that. So I'm not seeing the negative side of it. I can see, like, yeah, they have a little bit higher of an honor, I guess, because they're on a team. But here's the thing. If you become a great player, you can be on a team, and then you can go buy a table. Everyone has that same opportunity, and that's why I just don't see it as being such a negative thing. I think it's a great thing for the community. Something that Pokemon's been trying to focus on is becoming more and more of an esport, and to me, this is the way to do it. You have teams, you have this establishment within the tournament organizations, and now you have kind of that esport feel. You have this sense of community, and it honestly, to me, becomes kind of a goal. It's like, okay, now it's not just about getting my CP or winning this tournament or that tournament. It's now about, okay, how do I get good enough to become part of this organization, to be in with these players, so that I too can have the same opportunity. It's all about working towards the opportunity, not just saying, well, oh, how dare they get it? It's like, no, they earned it. They worked for it. They paid for it. So, like I said, to me, it was odd that would even be a discussion. I was really shocked when I got onto Facebook yesterday and started seeing all these things like, hey, do you guys think this is cool or not? And at first I thought it was, did you think it was cool, or did you think it was kind of bleh, kind of boring? But really they meant, was this a cool idea, or were you offended by it? And it seems like a lot of people were offended by it, and I'm really kind of surprised. So those are my thoughts on those two issues, guys. Let me know in the comments. What are your thoughts? I don't want to start any arguments, so I'm not looking to do that. So be, as Ross Gilbert says, go nuts, be nice, give us your opinions, but just keep it civil. I really am looking to just kind of get a feel for what people are thinking. Maybe I'm wrong about something. Maybe I'm not. Maybe you agree with me. And either way, it's going to be a great discussion. So kind of a different video than normal. If you are new to the channel, still be sure to leave a like, subscribe, the typical stuff, and come back for some more PTCGO content. Make sure to check out our other videos. Erica will also be putting out her thoughts on these issues tomorrow, so be looking for that as well. As usual, I've been Jordan with the Deck Box, where we want to know what's in your box. Have a great night, guys.